as well when we come back, and the special sitting expected to happen at the Senate today. But allow me to take our viewers to another function taking place in Nairobi. This is a meeting by the Kenya National Union of Nurses at their headquarters at Uchumi House. They're going to be discussing the welfare of nurses. Joining us right now is our reporter Purity Museo with more on what nurses have to say this morning.
A very good morning to you, Safin. We are coming to you live from Uchumi House, the headquarters for the Kenya National Union of Nurses, and we are here with the Kenya National Union of Nurses Secretary General, Mr. Seth Panyako, who will be addressing us on a few issues regarding the nursing welfare in the country. Remember, last year there were a lot of events surrounding nurses. The year began with a strike that began at around February, and of course there was an issue of allowances and an implemented CBA. There was the issue of nurses security, and also let's say the nurses in different, especially counties. Remember, it's all about the county governments and the Ministry of Health. There was that standoff, and now moving forward, also the nursing union want also to put forth their voice, especially on the BBI and how it's also going to affect them moving forward. Is it going to look at some of the issues affecting nurses? Also, Mr. Seth Panyako will be addressing issues to do with negligence in different hospitals. We witnessed last year different patients reported to have succumbed after maybe 1 or 2 cases of medical negligence. So that's the issues, Safin, that will be addressed this morning. Let me now welcome him. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Maybe you can just update us on where we are as a country, because we saw last year the events that were surrounding the nursing sector. Have they been resolved, and moving forward, what are your expectations? And maybe from this year 2020, we saw the Excellency, the Head of State, emphasizing on the issue of UHC. Maybe you can tell us also the partnership of nurses towards this agenda on universal health coverage.
Okay. First of all, I want to say the year 2019 was the most difficult year for nurses of this country. We did not have it easy. And I'm very sure that the Kenyan people did not enjoy available, affordable and quality healthcare services, because if I pick a county like Kisumu, out of 365 days in a year, last year, I can confidently say only 100 days were used to deliver healthcare services. It was a very most difficult year because we had challenges from all corners of the country. The collective bargaining agreement that we have been fighting for the longest period of time, the history of any trade union in Kenya from 2013 up to now, has not been completed up to now. On the issues of CBA alone, we have gone on strike more than 3 times. The longest was in 2017 when we were out for a period of 5 months. Last year we were out for a period of 2 months. And this is not good for this country. We support the president on the issue of the Big Four agenda, and in specific, the universal healthcare coverage, which I think cannot be achieved unless the issues of nurses are comprehensively addressed once and for all. So the last year was extremely difficult because the year when there was a direct attempt to kill this union by the Council of Governors, and also the chairman of the Council of Governors, Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, tried to set all arms of government against this union and against my leadership. And probably what Oparanya did last year was not restricted to the nurses issue. I think he brought in political issues of the political matrix of Kakamega, and I think he attempted to cripple this union with a view that crippling me as a person, because I earn my salary from the union, and I think what he did last year was not welcome. Even back at home in Kakamega, people are not happy about it. So in short, we are saying this is the year of the nurses. It's called the Nursing Now year. We want as nurses to be recognized, we want our issues to be addressed, and we are saying this is the year of the nurses CBA. So we have already begun the negotiations, and the court had given us 60 days last year to complete. As usual, there was a game of seek and hide. No one was taking responsibility, both in the national government and the county government. 60 days ended without any meeting, without any meaningful meeting. Is when I threatened that we are going to go on strike, that Ekuri Atan, when he was still Minister for Labour, decided to appoint a conciliator. And I believe the minister, former minister, played a major role in making sure that health was not stable. So I believe the new minister will be open and will be able to address issues so that we do not go on strike unnecessarily. So this is the year for the nurses CBA. That's what I can say about CPA so far. You mentioned an issue of discipline and professional negligence. I would like to say those issues are on the rise, and I have always addressed the issues by saying, one, the government must first address her part. Government must ensure that we have adequate staffing for nurses. When staffing nurses are not as required by the International Council of Nurses, World Health Organization, and the Kenyan Nursing Council of Kenya, then if a mistake happens, it is going to be a collective responsibility of the government. If the government does not have nurses that are, for example, when you go to a labor ward and it's supposed to have 20 nurses, and on one shift you go and you find there are 5, you do not expect 5 nurses to perform a duty of 20 nurses. So when a professional negligence issue like we are handling one from Nyeri, we are going to look into those issues. Where I'm told a mother died, or the baby died because someone was not on duty. So these issues have been there and they are on the rise. Kenyans are becoming more clever. They are becoming intelligent. There is now internet, which is people can read and know about their conditions. They are able to know whether the interventions were properly or not, and they are able to act. They are able to go to court. They are able to go to Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Board. It's now Dentist Council. They are able to approach Nursing Council of Kenya, and they are able to go to the courts. And the issues we have seen so far, the Kenyans people have always won against the government. You remember the issue of actually seat in Busia. The people went to court and they won, and I think they were awarded, I think, that 8 million, and the county government of Busia agreed to pay. So the issue of professional negligence or malpractices or issues related to, or mistakes, because we can call them mistakes, because no one comes from your home to come and make a mistake. This issue have to be addressed. One, proper infrastructure for healthcare system. Two, proper administrative systems, which are lacking. Today, as we are talking, each county is doing their own things. You have a county with a director of nursing services. We have another one that does not have. For example, something is happening in Kiambu that has never happened before. You are taking county director of nursing services and redeploying her to a dispensary to be answerable to an enrolled nurse, because dispensaries are headed by enrolled nurse. So this kind of funny things happen at the county level are not going to help the president to meet the universal healthcare coverage. We have also had issues of security in our public health facilities. You saw in Kenyatta where we had a patient who was killed, and they said nurses had killed that patient. We went to court, and all evidence pointed out that it was actually a family issue. It looks like the family were fighting on land, and some they decided to come and kill their own person. So our nurses are out and they're back on duty and they're working. But we are saying the issue of security squarely lies on the government. As much as the government says that security begins with you, yes, there is what I can do. But as a nurse, we are not trained to provide physical protection to the patients. The physical protection of patients lies in the Department of Security, however they call it. So my suggestion to the government is that when they put up new health facilities, first they must ensure there is one entry to the hospital. We don't want a hospital like Kenyatta National Hospital, where you enter from all directions. So you can't even be able to monitor who is coming in and who's going out. That is one of the. Number two, those health facilities, they should incorporate it with a police post. We should have a police post in all level 4 hospitals and above, which can be able to act swiftly if there is danger within the hospital facilities. So our patients have not been spared. Nurses have not been spared. You saw a nurse who was clobbered by a patient in Kenyatta, and she went into a little coma, and she had spinal injury, and she was treated, and I think she's now recuperating. You saw a nurse in Kiromo Line Medical Center where a nurse was shot by a patient. So we have these challenges, and these challenges cannot be able to handled by the nurses or can be by the government. Everybody must play his or her own role. Have adequate staffing, proper infrastructure, install CCTVs in hospital, not of course in the wards where procedures take place, because in the wards we require patients to have privacy. But have CCTVs that can capture everyone going to a particular ward or wherever your person is going, so that when you end outside there, you already CCTV captures you. So when something happens like the one happened in Kenyatta, They will only have reviewed the CCTV and said that at this time, a person looking like this entered the hospital. I hope Kenyatta National Hospital has installed CCTVs by now, from the information I have. We also, when they are building hospitals, they should not build hospitals that promote suicide. We have patients that are mentally disturbed, and when they come to hospital and they say a hospital is like Kenyatta National Hospital, I normally say it's a death trap. If you ask me, I would say Kenyatta National Hospital main tower should be demolished. It's a very dangerous facility. A patient who is mentally disturbed can easily jump. And we have had so many patients in Kenyatta who have jumped and fell down and have died. We have a number of health workers who have jumped and died. That hospital was not properly designed. We cannot have a hospital that is designed that a patient can easily jump over, or a patient can take another patient and throw over when there is an argument, because we don't know what's happening in the mind of these patients. So I have never agreed with the current structure of Kenyatta National Hospital, the main hospital. It's dangerous to the patients, it is dangerous to workers, and it's dangerous to everybody else. So that hospital, to me, unless something is done, it is not one of the best. And I'm encouraging that moving forward, we have hospitals that the structure itself has a security element. Something else I would like to talk about is the issue of how will we be able to contain and to deal with the issue of industrial actions throughout in this country. As we are talking today, we have counties that have not paid salaries for December. Homa Bay is one of them, Trans Nzoia is one of them, Mombasa is one of them. So many counties have not paid salary for December. But nurses and other health workers are tired. The issues of going on strike each and every day, they are tired. So if they are not paid this salary by some of whom already they have given a strike notice. So when we had a centralized government issue in the Ministry of Health, when health was still in the Ministry of Health, we never went on strike for non-payment of salary. So payment of salary becomes one of the issues. In fact, when you look at the causes of industrial action, if somebody was to do a research today, 65% of those industrial actions that have taken place in Kenya last financial year will be based on non-payment of salary. So that's why we are saying we want the establishment of the Health Service Commission, so that the recurrent expenditure for payment of salaries and the payment of statutory deductions, union, NHIF, premiums, loans, and what have you, are not mixed into development money. Because what county governments have been doing is to have this money that's meant to pay salaries, they take in the building of preachers, building toilets, so that wananchi can see. Then at the end of the day, they don't have money because they give money hoping that at the end of the year, money will come from the national government and they're able to pay. So most of them spend recurrent money. Then by December, some of them have no money to give. Some of them have not paid what they're calling the pending bills, the famous pending bills by the current Minister for Labor, for Treasury. And no, they're not being given money. So why should workers who have done work and they have a right to be paid be caught into the middle of those who want to pay the contractors and suppliers to the county governments and the national government? So that's why I'm saying we must separate issues of human resource from the issues of infrastructure, provision of medicine, adequate supplies of everything, so that we have the Health Service Commission. And I'm happy that the BBI group initially agreed, and they have put Health Service Commission in the BBI initial report.
And sir, we have to wind up quickly. Kindly mention on the issue, you had complained about nurses not being involved during the negotiations on the rollout of UHC, and also the issue of BBI on the nursing sector. Quickly.
The issue of BBI is very clear. I've already said that the Health Service Commission has been enraged in the BBI. We are being supported by the Kenyans and also the Public Service Commission. So that is a con case. No one is opposing it. We are happy about it. We have played our role. Our eyes are open. We will make sure that no one attempts to remove the Health Service Commission from the BBI. We are saying as health workers that we are normally not involved in what is happening. The Minister of Health today does not involve stakeholders. The minister that was removed, the cabinet secretary that was removed recently, Cecily Karuki, it was a sigh of relief, because I believe that lady was not fit to hold that position. She was too proud. She has left that office without meeting this union. Whenever you ask for a meeting with her, she just does dodges, and she can give you a date. When that date comes, she cancels and disappears. So we are hoping that whoever has been brought now in the ministry will have open doors, so that we discuss issues. We don't have to disrupt services delivery because of issues that can be discussed. We want nurses to be at the center of policy making and implementation in this country. We don't want to be left as implementation tools the way it is today. Universal health care, we don't know where it's going or where it's coming from. We are supporting it, yes, a good idea, yes, but we don't know. The systems that have been put in place by the government, we don't know how they are working. If you asked me, I'll have told the government, give money to National Health Insurance Fund, and then we ensure that there is proper management of that fund, so that every Kenyan is able to access healthcare services. But when now you say you are going to buy medicine, do what, that does not work out very, very well. So that there could be a clear coordination between National Health Insurance Fund, KEMSA, and the service delivered on the ground. That will have been my proposal.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Seth Panyako. We have to wrap it up at that juncture. Safin, that has been Seth Panyako, the Secretary General for the Kenya National Union of Nurses, addressing a few issues that concerns nurses in this country, and of course reflecting on last year, saying that this year is now the CBA implementation year for the nurses, and calling for the new cabinet secretary or the stakeholders in the health sector to really be involving nurses in any decisions if anything UHC is to be achieved. It's back to you in studio, Safi, and I'm Purity Museo.